Here we go. Issue number 59, upgrading Navidrome and enabling sharing. I guess the place to start is, what is Navidrome? Navidrome is a personal streaming site that's running off my Raspberry Pi. I run it because it's not that I have anything against streaming services. I use YouTube, for example, and YouTube Music, but it's like I sort of like running it on my Raspberry Pi. And I also, being a product of the 80s and 90s, I have a large CD collection that I ripped into MP3s many eons ago, and some of the music there I can't find on streaming services. For example, a band called Spock's Beard, for some reason, doesn't have stuff on Spotify. Does this work? Yeah. So, for example, like this album, I don't believe you can find it on Spotify. I think sometimes you can find it on YouTube, but then it gets taken down, so there's probably a rights issue. But I want to be able to share that with people and not have them require an account. So I'm actually logged in right now. So if I log out, this is what it looks like. And so anytime I want to share some music with some friends, and I don't want to set up an account for them. I just want to give them, like, a short-lived shareable link that they can listen to, and that's it. But that feature just got introduced in Navidrome. I should at least play something so you can see that it works. There we go. Starts playing something. Maybe something with more music or more volume. Not sure if that's coming up through the microphone, but anyways, that's what Navidrome is. And Navidrome is available on this GitHub repo as a release. But before we get into that, I'm going to say that I've now introduced Navidrome sufficiently enough. How do I install it and run it? And so a couple things to note here is that you can see it's at home.scottmoots.com/music. And here we'll go into the Ansible playbook that deploys it. I'm not going to go into the details of Ansible, but hopefully things are laid out in a manner that's straightforward enough that knowing Ansible isn't really necessary. Good thing that we also open up this. I can see that running, well, let's double check. Are we running the version that the code says? Yes, we are. Okay, so that's good to know. We know what version we're upgrading from, which it appears isn't too far behind where the new feature is added. And we'll see here if we go Navidrome. Okay, so we have a separate task file that handles all things Navidrome. So let's go here. We'll see here. So behind the scenes, there is something running on this Raspberry Pi that is hosting this application. And there's some boilerplate stuff here. So we create a user called Navidrome. We want it to be a system account, so it's not something that you log into. Creating a path where Navidrome is going to live. Something to note is that Navidrome is written in Go, and it's a single binary to execute, and that's it, which is sort of nice. It's one of the reasons why I chose to run it, because it's very easy to operate because of that characteristic of just having a single binary deployable. Here, okay, I create a directory for the version that I'm installing. That's so I can quickly reverse in case the install goes bad. Probably not necessary. It's not like this is mission critical or anything like that, but I'm just doing it to learn Ansible and be more effective with it. Here's downloading the tarball, and it looks like it extracts it into the version directory, and it creates an executable called Navidrome. And the symlink, yep, so then we just say, like, the live version is pointing to the version that we are deploying. FFmpeg is something that's needed for transcoding. We'll just skip that. That's not really that interesting. And then we have a couple templates here. So one is we have a configuration file for Navidrome. So if we look at that, this is the configuration for Navidrome itself. And here we can see that this file is just going to be copied into this path. So nothing special here. This is just saying what the URL is. So this is why /music is shown up here, and some miscellaneous metadata on like where the files are located. And then last but not least, we have a systemd service definition, which looks like this. So this is a syntax for systemd, and we can see that exec start. This is the magic line, which says, okay, this service is executing Navidrome and specifying the config file. And interesting, we have an environment variable. So that makes me think that we might be exposing an environment variable for the playlist or the sharing feature. I'm not sure. Maybe it can also go in the config file. Maybe the Prometheus enabled can go in the config file, and I can ditch this environment variable. I'm not sure, but we'll explore that as we go. Now, of course, this is wrapped in some Ansible magic that you might not understand. That's okay. Maybe we can do Ansible in more detail at a later date. But I just want to go over like what is the general makeup of this Navidrome installation. So here we can see that we have stuff put into /opt/Navidrome. In fact, maybe I'll just SSH into the Pi and show that. And the systemd file and the config file. And yeah, I think I will do that. I'll SSH into the Pi. In order to do that, I need to log in. Don't dox me. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I said that there's going to be a bunch of stuff in opt Navidrome, and here it is. So we see the symlink. So it looks like I've only installed one version of Navidrome on this, I guess, iteration of the Raspberry Pi. I can see that there's that config file. And if I go into 0.48, or I could have just gone into live, and we can see that there's not much here. There's just a large binary called Navidrome. Interestingly, it's owned by root. That's fine because the playbook is putting it there. But I thought it would have been owned by, like, if we look at the directory is owned by Navidrome. So that's interesting. I should, I think I actually maybe have that explicitly done in the playbook. But anyways, that's a distract. That's an Ansibleism. Not going to block us from what we're trying to do. So that's the one config file, and then the other one was in etc system system. There we go. Ooh, guessed it. So that's everything that's in that systemd configuration file. I think I lifted this pretty much directly from the Navidrome documentation, but nothing really interesting to see here except for how we launch the service. And this allows me to do things like system ctl status Navidrome. Might be the other way around. Oh no, okay, I got lucky, got it right on the first time. Okay, cool. So that is, in short, the guts of the Navidrome installation. All right, what's the next thing I had here? Execute a no-op Ansible run. Before I do that, I know I glossed over one thing, is that how how the heck is this accessible over the web and all that stuff with a certificate? That's being done by Nginx. We're not going to have to touch Nginx for any of this. We're just updating the backend. And so I'm going to gloss over and say that there's some Nginx configuration going on behind the scenes that allows this website to be accessible, but not really related to the upgrade that we're doing here. All right, so I'm going to get out of this. And okay, I've already loaded my keys, which is great. So this will be a nice little showcase of gum, which is part of the charm bracelet toolkit, which I absolutely adore. So I want to invoke the main playbook, and I want to invoke the Navidrome tag and use my inventory file. So these are, again, Ansible-isms. But what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to limit the scope of what I'm doing on the Pi to just the set of things that cover Navidrome. I'd say in most instances, I probably would do everything. Just, I don't know. I feel it gives me a sense of satisfaction that the no-op of all the things works. But because I'm recording this, I feel that I'd rather just do it short and sweet, and it looks like the no-op works. So now I feel comfortable going to the next stage. Awesome. All right, so let's take a look at the release notes and also see, like, I guess another thing to note here is that I'm going to do the upgrade first and then do the configuration change, because who knows, maybe the upgrade goes foul and I want to decouple those two changes. If I'm feeling lucky, I could do both at the same time, and I'm 90% sure it would work. But this is sort of more to demonstrate a process that I would do. And given that I don't do this like all the time, it's not like I'm upgrading my Raspberry Pi on a daily or weekly basis. It's very ad hoc. I like to do small changes just to reinforce my own confidence whether or not, like, if my automation works or not. So let's take a look at, let's go to the main releases page and let's see. Oh, so there is a 4.493. So I'm not that far behind. But let's see what's going on in 4.9.3. There's a show-stopping bug in 4.9.2. Okay, cool. Then I won't. I will definitely ignore that one. So I'm gonna ignore 4.9.2 since it doesn't work, or something. Another bug fix point release. Cool. I'm just scanning it to see to look for a keyword that says warning or something like that, or big change. I'm not seeing anything there. Okay, now 4.9, this is the one that has the new feature. Okay, and I can see that it says enable sharing true in the config or the environment variable. I think I'm going to go with the config. I would rather get the stuff out of the systemd service file if I can. I should think about what to do with the Prometheus one as well, but I'll leave that for later. But it looks like it might actually just literally be changing that one line. Cool. Just remember that once enabled, all users, not only admins, will have full permission to share and change existing shares. That isn't, the people who have accounts on the server are people that I trust, so that is fine. Cool. I have no idea what this is going to look like in the UI, but we'll play around with it once we do the upgrades. So I think I'm going to directly upgrade straight to 4.9.3. I don't see a reason to do 4.9.0 and then 4.9.3. I'm feeling lucky, so let's do that. So that's changing this. And that should be it. Yep. One of the issues I'm finding with recording the full implementation is that my comments start sucking. I don't put as many comments in the GitHub issue. I also want to have paper trail up and running. That's where my logs are. Oh, that's bright. All right, so here is, can I, yeah, let's just, I want to just Navidrome. Cool. Interesting. Why is it username null? Someone's trying to log in? Not sure. Could be. That's me. Let's see if these errors go away once I successfully, I don't know, log off and on again. But let's do the upgrade and let's see what the logs do. And one of these tasks should show changed, which would be, well, we'll see it coming up. There we go. Now Navidrome versioned directory has changed because now it's 493. So now it's going to download it because it doesn't see it existing on the file system. So this might take a bit. Oh yeah, here we showed Lena Rain. So this is when I was logged off. Okay, these are old. So the symlink changed. Yeah. Now the restart handler should be running. Yep, so the restart. So we should see some logs. Yep, we're starting to see some of the logs. Oh, that's a helpful log. It's saying scan intervals deprecated. Please use scan schedule. All right. A full rescan needs to be performed. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. It looks like it started, so I'm sure I can go here, but it looks like the album art isn't there because I think the release notes did say something about it changed its strategy for loading album artwork. So that looks like it's fine. Let's see. Do we see 493? 493. Okay, so we've successfully upgraded Navidrome. Does it work? It does. Okay, cool. I'm just going to add another to-do. Oh, error caching ID. Okay, that's part of the scan. How do I want to pause. There we go. Pause. Let's just copy this and say, I want to put this in the issue. When watching the startup logs of Navidrome, it printed a helpful deprecation warning as follows. And I had to do update. Rename. Cool. Have that as a to-do, but I still want to focus on the goal of this issue, which is to do the upgrade and enable sharing. But thank you, Navidrome, for a helpful message there. What's going on here? Finish processing, blah, blah. Okay, so this is probably going to be fairly verbose. So we'll see more stuff once we enable the sharing and see if anything comes up with that. So what's the next thing on the docket? Update the configuration. Okay. So here's the configuration, and here we see the scan interval. So I could do that in one go if I'm feeling lucky, which I am. But actually, no, I'm not, because I don't know if like scan schedule looks like it's going to take in a different value. So I'm not going to change that. Oh, Dodged a bullet there. What was it called? Enable sharing. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in alphabetical order. Can that be a string, or can that not be a string? I'm going to try it like that, be consistent, and I'll probably sort these by alphabetical. And no, I'm not going to resort them. I'm going to keep them as they are. All right, let's see what happens when we enable sharing. And we should predict when Ansible is not going to re-upgrade Navidrome. So most of the things will say that they were okay, but the config file will show changed. See, skipping the download, great. Yep, install Navidrome configuration. It sees that changed, and that should trigger a restart. And this has taken a while, which is interesting. I wonder if that's because it's doing this scan right now. Okay, so it probably took a while to stop the scan. Okay. We even see an example, setting scan schedule every 1 hour. Okay. That's good to see. I'm going to pause that, and I'm just going to edit that. I can't remember how much of the thing I put in. I put in the level, yeah. Holy, with the small text box, Batman. Okay. The output also printed what the format should look like. This is a beautiful example of making an API change, but being graceful about it and not failing hard, and so it still accepted the old way. And I'm sure at some point it will fail, but it's the developers of Navidrome took the high road and had to introduce some complexity to their code base to allow the ease of operations, which is really nice, and kudos to them. All right. So it's enabled. Let's see what this looks like. I have no idea. So if I want to share this, share. Description. Share in original format. Or, I can transcode it. Interesting. Acceptance criteria for issue. What's our GitHub issue? 59. Cool. Let's open up. Very cool. That's loud. Okay. Sorry if that was blasting your ears, but that's really cool that worked. So now I'm going to say here, it's like, successfully shared an album. Cool. So we've done that. Done that. And let's do the little cleanup that we discovered. So I'm happy to do these all in one commit. How dare I? All right. Let's. We had it documented here, so this is gonna say. Oh no, this is. This is gonna be at every 1 hour, 0 minute, 0 seconds. Cool. That's an interesting form of a cron like declaration. So let's deploy that and see if it works. And this should be pretty quick. We'll see another change of the configuration file. Huh, interesting. It looks like because we interrupted the previous one, it looks like it didn't really get into it. Or no, I paused. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah. Error warming cache. I wonder what that's. Could not get. Okay, so yeah, I do know that a lot of the albums don't have cover art, so those errors are to be expected. And I'm slowly getting the artwork for them using a tool called Music Brains and re-encoding the MP3s with the album art embedded. Okay, so it looks like we've restarted and not seeing the deprecation warning anymore. Cool. Goose, no migrations to run. I'm assuming that that's the database migration tool. Goose, that's a fun name. Check configuration, name equals Spotify. Interesting. I haven't really looked at like much of the features that have been developing in Navidrome, so it's probably worth some time to just say, hey, are there features that have been released that I actually want to use? I don't know, but it looks like we're back up and running, so that's nice. And I think that's going to be it. So I'm going to quickly do a commit here. Well, I didn't test it. Let's refresh. Let's do the whole flow. Let's log off. Let's log back in again. Actually, I'm going to log in as the admin and see. How do I see shares? Ah, here we go. Cool. That's how I see the shares. And I don't think I need to be admin. That's what they were saying, is that anyone... Well, see, I did the share, so I need someone else to log in and see if they can see the share. But I'm assuming that the admin can see all the shares. I'm not sure. Can even track the visits. Interesting. Cool beans. So it is working. So let's do... I know I'm going to need my GPG key. Get that ready. That's the version upgrade and the configuration change. So upgrade Navidrome and enable sharing. So 0.48.0 to 0.493. Fix. I'm not going to do this as a bullet list. Fixed deprecation warning around the config for scan interval and enabled the sharing functionality. Issue number 59. Cool. There's the commit, and I think that's it. Yeah, this was boring, which is cool. But if there are other interesting things that I can explore, I'm happy to do that. I would say this is boring because I have done this a lot, and so I think with frequency and repetition, you just get better at it, and that. And not me getting better, the automation just improved and got less flaky over time as well. And I think Navidrome is just a nice, well governed project, and it makes it easy. Maybe I'll send a link to them to this video. They might find it interesting to see how someone manages their Navidrome instance. Anyways, I will finish this last to do by publishing this video, and I'll put the link there. Hope you found this fun. Cheers.